Good morning, students. First video we have completed surface density of the charge. Then after that we come across the most important thing of the topic, that is Coulomb's law. We are dealing the Coulomb's law in scalar form as well as vector form. While dealing the Coulomb's law, either you go for scalar form or vector form, statement is same, but the representation is different. First, we come across Coulomb's law in scalar form. So, I start with Coulomb's law, that is in scalar form. When I come across the Coulomb's law, Coulomb is the scientist who studied regarding the charge and the force exerted between the charges. For the Coulomb's law, he considered 2-point charges. When you take the 2-point charges, either like charges or unlike charges, we know that from the property of the charge. Like charges repels, unlike charges attracts. There is a force of attraction between the unlike charges, there is a force of repulsion between like charges. By considering the 2-point charges and separated by a certain distance, and the two charges are either introduced in between the two charges a medium, or nothing should be introduced in between the two charges. There is existence of what? Air. So we consider the two charges which are placed at a certain distance, and there is an intervening medium in between the two charges. So I go for the statement for Coulomb's law. Statement. According to Coulomb's law, or Coulomb's law states that the force of attraction or repulsion between the 2-point charges is directly proportional to product of magnitude of the charges and inversely proportional to square of the separation distance between them. And the force acts along the line joining of the two charges. What is that statement? Coulomb's law states that the force of attraction or repulsion between the 2-point charges is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of the charges and inversely proportional to square of the separation distance between them, and the force acts along the line joining of the two charges. Now this is our statement. I want to analyze this statement. So I go for analyzing this statement and the force between the two charges from the statement, how the force arises. Either you can take like charges or unlike charges. I take two like charges. Explanation. We know that what is that statement. I analyze that statement in the form of what? Explanation. I take the two charges, Q1 and Q2 are the 2-point charges. Now these are the 2-point charges separated by a distance d. D is the separation distance between the two charges. From the property of the charge, the like charges repels. This charge exerts the force on this charge. There is a force of repulsion. And F is the force of repulsion. Then I go for the statement. According to the statement, from statement, what is that statement? The force of attraction or repulsion, F, is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of the charges and this force is inversely proportional to square of the separation distance between them. D is the separation distance between the two charges, that is nothing but d square. When I combine both the terms, force is directly proportional to product of the magnitude of the charges and inversely proportional to square of the distance. Then after this, I want to remove the proportionality sign. When I remove the proportionality sign, this force is equals to proportional constant. I take K, Q1, Q2 divided by d square. Then what is that proportional constant? On what factor this proportional constant depends? The proportional constant K depends on the nature of the medium in which the charges are placed and the system of measuring unit. Are you getting the point? This K, that proportional constant depends on the nature of the medium in which the charges are placed and the system of measuring unit. So, according to SI system, and for medium in between the two charges, then K equals to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon. What is that term? Epsilon. This is called permittivity. So, what is that permittivity? The name itself indicates that permitting ability. What should be permitted when you come across the charge? The charge gives electric lines of forces. So that permittivity represents how we extend the medium, permit or allows the electric lines of forces, that measures its permittivity. So this is nothing but absolute permittivity. Then this epsilon is equals to epsilon naught into epsilon r. Now this epsilon naught indicates permittivity of free space or air medium, and epsilon r is called relative permittivity for the medium. So when I take this K equals to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into epsilon r, if I take air medium for air, epsilon r equals to 1, then what about epsilon naught? Epsilon naught has got its own value that should be measured by the device, dielectric constant meter. So the value of epsilon naught is provided 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12. Then what about its unit? Its SI unit is Newton meter square per coulomb square. So next we analyze that, how the epsilon naught is having the unit Newton meter square per coulomb square. Then I substitute the values. F equals to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, epsilon r equals to 1, Q1 Q2 divided by t square. Now this is our Coulomb's law, the force exerted between the two charges. F equals to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, Q1 Q2 divided by d square. This epsilon naught indicates that the charges are placed in the air medium. What is the value of epsilon naught? The value of the epsilon naught is provided by the value epsilon naught equals to 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12 Newton meter square per coulomb square. Is that constant K 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught is having any proper value? While solving the problem, we want to substitute the value. We know that 4, this is 4, pi equals to 3.14, epsilon naught equals to 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12. By substituting all these factors in the equation, 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, its value is 9 into 10 to the power of 9. 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught is nothing but here 9 into 10 to the power of 9. So when you come across epsilon naught value, just you concentrate. If I bring this side here, there will be change of unit takes place. What we have written, is it the correct? Just analyze it. If I bring the epsilon naught here, force comes here, Q1, Q2, Coulomb square per Newton per meter square, Coulomb square per Newton per meter square. Just so when you write something wrong, it indicates that you have done the certain mistake. Just to analyze the equation. If I bring epsilon naught here, F comes to here, 1 divided by 4 pi is a constant, there will be no unit. Coulomb into Coulomb, Coulomb square. Force is in denominator, and I bring it numerator per Newton. This is per meter square. Now this is a correct. Per Newton per meter square, Coulomb square. That is nothing but simply we can write Coulomb square, Coulomb square per Newton per meter square. Now this is a correct unit for what? Epsilon naught. If you have done the certain things to be wrong while writing, immediately it should be corrected just by seeing the equation. Is it clear? Then what about the SI unit for 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught? Just by seeing this one. If I shift this d square here, F into d square divided by Q1, Q2, then what is the SI unit? Force is Newton. D square, meter square. It is, both the terms comes to the denominator, that is nothing but per Coulomb square. Now this is its SI unit. So 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, the value is 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. Is it clear? So this is about what? For Coulomb's law. So just to glance the figure. After glancing the figure, just you remember the statement. While writing the examination, you don't add the sentence. Just you have to create the sentence from your side. Just by seeing the figure, you make the sentence. Consider the two charges, Q1 and Q2, separated by a distance d, and F is the force of repulsion. Then, from the statement, the force is directly proportional to product of the magnitude of the charges, and it is inversely proportional to square of the separation distance between them. When both the terms are merged, we get F is directly proportional to Q1, Q2 divided by d square. After solving the equation, F equals to K, Q1, Q2 divided by d square. So, the value of the K depends on the system of measuring unit and the medium where the charges are placed. So, according to SI system and for the medium, K equals to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon. That epsilon is nothing but permittivity. And that permittivity, epsilon equals to epsilon naught into epsilon r, where epsilon naught is nothing but permittivity of free space, and this is relative permittivity. Now this is known as also absolute permittivity. The K equals to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into epsilon r. For air medium, the value of relative permittivity is 1. Then, what is the value for epsilon naught? The value of epsilon naught is determined by the dielectric constant meter. For air, its value is 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton per meter square. By substituting the values, F equals to, I come across the ordinary equation, K is replaced by 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, where epsilon r is taken as 1 for air medium, then Q1, Q2 divided by d square. Then what is the value for that 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught? 4 pi is nothing but 3.14, epsilon naught value is determined here, 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12. By substituting all the values and calculating, finally we get 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. Now this is about the Coulomb's law. At the time of writing the examination, at the time of solving the problem, when you come across the calculation of the force, then you go for this equation. If it is there is a medium introduced in between the two charges, we go for substitution of the K, 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into epsilon r. Whatever the value is provided for that epsilon r, we take that value for the medium. Epsilon r value depends on nature of the medium. For air, its value is 1. Is it clear? Just to glance the terms within the few seconds. Then let me go for definition for SI unit Coulomb. Most of the time in the examination, they ask that define the SI unit of charge. The maximum students in the hurry, they write SI unit of charge is Coulomb. They are asking definition for the SI unit of charge. We have to define Coulomb. Is it clear? Shall I proceed for the next? Yes. Then I come across definition for 1 Coulomb or definition for Coulomb. While defining any term, don't by heart the sentence. Just to keep the equation in front of you. Then that equation tells everything. That equation speaks if you are able to listen. Yes. आप बोल सकते सर कभी भी इक्वेशन बात कर सकते क्या? बात कर सकते. आप इक्वेशंस को गौर करो. Equation speaks you. What the book writer does? He keep the equation in front of him and he go for writing the things what the equation tells him. Yes, the same thing we are going to do here. I go for equation for the force 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by d square. This is my equation after analyzing the Coulomb's law. I want to define Coulomb. If Q1 is equals to Q2 is equals to 1 Coulomb and D equals to 1 meter, then F equals to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. This is 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton. This is your definition. I want to make the sentence. Then how to frame the sentence? That is the important thing. I want to define Coulomb. Definition for 1 Coulomb or Coulomb. Definition for Coulomb or 1 Coulomb. 1 Coulomb is that charge when it is placed at a distance of 1 meter from the identical charge. 1 Coulomb is that charge when it is placed at a distance of 1 meter from the identical charge. In the air medium, it experiences a force of repulsion 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton. Do you feel the definition is complicated? Nothing. If you keep the equation in front of you, then you go for analyzing the equation, then you can easily write 1 Coulomb. Most of the students are by-hearting the sentence. There will be no need of by-hearting the sentence. Shall I repeat once again? First I place the equation in front of me. Then I go for analyzing the equation. If Q1 equals to Q2 equals to 1 Coulomb and D equals to 1 meter, then F equals to what? 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. What is the value for this? 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton. Make the sentence. 1 Coulomb is that charge when placed at a distance of 1 meter from the identical charge in air medium experiences a force of repulsion 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton, because both the charges are identical charges, like charges. There is a force of repulsion. Are you getting the point? So this is the definition for what? 1 Coulomb. Is it clear? Now this represents the Coulomb's law in scalar form. Then I come across the Coulomb's law in vector form. Everything will be same. Then there is a slight modification in the representation of figure and the writing the things. The statement is same. The statement belongs to what? Scalar. Vector represents both scalar as well as direction. Only thing is that direction is added here. So I go for Coulomb's law in vector form. समझ में आ गया? Shall I proceed for Coulomb's law in vector form? Yes. I go for Coulomb's law in vector form. 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 Once again I go for the same statement. According to the Coulomb's law, or Coulomb's law states that the force of attraction or repulsion between the 2 point charges is directly proportional to product of magnitude of the charges and inversely proportional to square of the separation distance between them, and the force acts along the line joining of the 2 charges. Whatever the statement we have provided in the scalar form, the same statement is once again repeated for vector form. Only thing is that the representation of what? The figure. So, statement is same. There will be no need of adding the statement. And I go for explanation. For the explanation, I need the figure. There is a slight modification in the figure. Again, I take the 2 point charges Q1 and Q2. Either you can take the like charges or unlike charges. I take the like charges Q1 and Q2 separated by a distance r, because unit vector is represented by r cap, that represents the direction. I don't want to take d here. I go for what? The separation distance between the 2 charges is r. There is a force of repulsion between the 2 charges. Now this is the force F and this is the force F. Just you see the figure. I want to be represented in vector form. When you represent the vector form, a letter with arrow mark. F is a force with arrow mark. Then I analyze it. This force is on the first charge due to the presence of what? Second charge. The force on first charge. Now this F is acting on first charge in the presence of second charge. Similarly, this force is on the second charge in the presence of first charge. Is it clear how to represent? बात करने की जरूरत नहीं है, जस्ट देख लो फिगर में. ये फोर्स किसके ऊपर है? फर्स्ट चार्ज in the presence of what? Second charge. Now this force is on the second charge in the presence of what? First charge. Then I need the direction. For this force we have got the direction. For this force also we have got the direction. So direction for this force, the direction is represented by unit vector r cap. So r cap is the unit vector which represents the direction. Now it is from which charge? Second charge. And it is directing towards which charge? First charge. So it is originated from second charge and terminating on what? First charge. For this force, this is the direction r cap. It is originated from first charge and terminating towards second charge. Now these are the direction for the respective forces. If you understood this figure, nothing should be there to write the equations in vector form. Then after that we go for the conclusion. Then what is the use of this Coulomb's law in vector form? सर हम स्केलर फॉर्म पढ़े थे, फिर वेक्टर फॉर्म की ज़रूरत क्या है? वो लास्ट को आपको पूरा इक्वेशन होने के बाद आपको मालूम हो जाएगा व्हाट इज द यूज ऑफ दैट वेक्टर फॉर्म. फिगर आपको समझ में आ गया? Shall I go for once again or it is clear? Yes. Then I go for representation of the equation. First, according to the statement once again, the force between the two charges I write F12. The force acting on the first charge in the presence of what? Due to the second charge. E is equals to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. Both the charges are placed in the air medium. Product of the charges, magnitude of the product of the charges, and inversely proportional to square of the distance. Q1 Q2 divided by r square. Now this represents what? Magnitude. Then direction. It has got both magnitude and direction. What is the direction for F12? Now this is the force. Now this is the direction r21 unit vector. I call this is equation number 1. The r21 represents the direction of the vector which is directed from second to first charge. Then for the second force F21, for this again the magnitude is same, 1 divided by 4 epsilon naught, product of the charges divided by square of the separation distance between them, and the direction r cap. For this force, what is the direction? r12. This is equation number 2. Is it clear? I have done nothing. Whatever the figure is telling me, I am writing the same thing in the equation form. Force, the direction. This is the magnitude is same for both the things. For this force, this is the direction. For this force, this is the direction. Direction is represented by unit vector. Then, from the vector, these two are the unit vectors whose magnitude is 1, but their directions are opposite. According to the vector, according to vector concept, r12 is equals to r21. They are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. They are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. Then I replace from equation 1. From equation 1, shall I write F12 is equals to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by r square. R12 is replaced by R21, or R21 is equals to minus of, from equation, shall I write R12, shall I take it? Or R21 is equals to minus of R12. R21 is equals to minus of R12. Shall I write? Then I take the minus sign here. 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by r square. Then I write R12. Is it clear? Then just to check the equation. What this equation represents, complete term, is it F21? Then final conclusion, F12 is equals to minus as it is F21. This is our conclusion. गौर से देखो इक्वेशन को, गौर से देखो, सिंपलेस्ट फॉर्म है, अननेसेसरी आप लोग कंफ्यूजन कर लेते, कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. वेक्टर फॉर्म, जब वेक्टर फॉर्म पूछते एग्जामिनेशन में, just you write the figure clearly, understand the figure clearly, then you go for representing the equation, easiest way. Then what that equation tells final? The two forces are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. That negative sign indicates that opposite in direction. The two forces are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. When I take the two charges, they are exerting the force on each other equally. Because of that reason, there will be no displacement of the charges from their initial position. Hence, the net resultant force is 0. Both the charges are exerting the force on each other. Because of that reason, there will be no displacement of the charges takes place. What is that equation tells that? The two forces are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. It obeys the Newton's third law. For every action there is a equal and opposite reaction. What we have studied in the first year. वेक्टर फॉर्म की ज़रूरत क्या है? अब दोनों फोर्स किस तरह रहते, उनका मैग्नीट्यूड क्या है और डायरेक्शन क्या है, बताने के लिए हम लोगों को वेक्टर फॉर्म आने की ज़रूरत पड़ी. स्केलर फॉर्म ये तो हम लोगों को मालूम हो जाता, बोथ द फोर्सेस आर इक्वल इन मैग्नीट्यूड. एंड व्हाट इज द डायरेक्शन? द डायरेक्शन टेल्स दैट the two forces are equal in magnitude but opposite direction. To confirm this one, we come across what? Vector form. Is it clear? Right. Now this is about Coulomb's law in vector form. कोई दिक्कत है? No. अगर आपको समझ में आ गए तो नेक्स्ट प्रोसीड कर सकते. That is Coulomb's law in vector form that is in terms of position vector for the two charges q1 and q2. Next, जा सकते हैं? Yes. So after this we come across Coulomb's law in terms of position vector of the two charges q1 and q2. Coulomb's law in position vector of charges, two charges q1 and q2. थोड़े लोग इसको कॉम्प्लिकेशन बनाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, यूजुअली ये कम पूछते एग्जामिनेशन में, सिलेबस में है मेंशनिंग, देन वी गो फॉर दैट वन. ईजी है फिगर, आप फिगर अंडरस्टैंड कर ले. नथिंग शुड बी देयर इन द फिजिक्स, जस्ट इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड द फिगर यू कैन इजीली राइट द थिंग्स इन द explanation in your own wordings. Then only thing is that figure is understood, everything will be understood in the figure. There will be no need of biting the sentence. आपके पास थोड़ा भी नॉलेज है इंग्लिश की, बस उतना सफिशिएंट. हम लोग यहाँ पे तो कोई कहानी तो नहीं लिख रहे, नॉवेल तो नहीं लिख रहे, पूरा हम लोगों को ग्रामेटिकल होना ज़रूरी है, बट डोंट बाइट द थिंग्स. I want to represent Coulomb's law in position vector of what? The two charges q1 and q2. Then what is that position vector? Position vector represents the position of the object with respect to the origin. Then I need the coordinate system. So origin कहाँ पे आ जाता? Coordinate system. I take the two dimension, that is nothing but x coordinate and y coordinate. X coordinate or a y coordinate, and this is origin. I place the two charges q1 and this is q2, and their position is represented by position vector. r1 is the position vector for the charge q1 and r2 is the position vector for the charge q2. R1 and R2 are the position vector for the respective charges q1 and q2. Now this is the separation distance between the two charges, right? Then when the two charges are separated by a certain distance, there is a force of repulsion. Now this is the force. यहाँ पे आ जाता है, but यहाँ पे complication, एक force ले लो. Now this is the force acting on the second charge in the presence of what? First charge. Then position vector ये जो है वही लिखो r21. Now this is the position vector. जब वेक्टर लिख रहे हैं, वेक्टर लिखने की जरूरत नहीं, वहाँ पे कैप मत ले लो. So r21 is the position vector from charge q1 to q2. Now this is the what? जिस तरह फोर्स है डायरेक्शन भी इधर ही रहता. अगर फिगर समझ में आएगा, हो गया पोजिशन वेक्टर. आपको ज़रूरत नहीं, थोड़ा मैं जो फर्स्ट ईयर में पढ़े सो है थोड़ा यहाँ पे उसको यूज़ कर लेता हूँ मैं. फिगर समझ में आ गया? टू रिप्रेजेंट द पोजिशन ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्ट आई नीड द origin with reference to the origin. So position vector represents the position of the object with respect to the origin. Origin कब आ जाता है? I take the coordinate system xy is the coordinate, O is the origin. I take the two charges q1 and q2. r1 represents the position vector for charge q1. r2 represents the position vector charge q2. When the two charges are separated by a distance, there is a force. Now like charges, force of repulsion. This force is acting on the second charge in the presence of what? First charge, and this is the separation distance, that is nothing but position vector r21. It is directed from q1 to q2. बस मैं स्टेटमेंट चाहता हूँ मैं. So according to the triangle of vector addition, when the two vectors are in the same direction, the resultant is taken from the closing side, which is taken in opposite order, from triangle of vector addition. From triangle law of vector addition. पढ़े साहब? These two are in the same direction. R1 plus R21. and the closing side represents the resultant. Then I need R21. R21 is the position vector. R1 minus R2. अगर आप इतना समझ में आ गया, हो गया आपका पूरा. Then I go for statement. From Coulomb's law, force कौन सा? F21. 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, product of the magnitude of the charges divided by distance square. Arrow mark मत डालो. Vectors cannot be divided. Arrow mark निकाल दो. That is nothing but the distance. What is the position of the two vectors? Two charges Q1 and Q2. R21 is the position. That is the distance between the two charges. Then direction is given by R21 vector. Direction given by R21 vector. Right? Then from the unit vector concept, direction is represented by unit vector. And I have taken what? R21 in vector form. So we know that vector A equals to A into A cap, magnitude and direction. A cap equals to vector A by A. ये बेसिक कंसेप्ट है, इसी को जाता मैं. R21 vector is equals to R21 cap. सही है. Then I need this R21. So I need, magnitude and direction. This is unit vector. Direction. Then I need this direction R21 vector divided by R21. अगर आपको ये समझ में आएगा तो नेक्स्ट में प्रोसीड करता हूँ मैं. देख लो पूरा यहाँ पे साइड में रखे सो है. ये मेरा बेसिक कंसेप्ट है. वेक्टर मैग्नीट्यूड एंड डायरेक्शन. डायरेक्शन इज रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय यूनिट वेक्टर. आई नीड द यूनिट वेक्टर हियर व्हेन आई राइट द दिस फोर्स. मैग्नीट्यूड डायरेक्शन. डायरेक्शन इज रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय यूनिट वेक्टर. पहले हम लोग वेक्टर लेके थे, निकाल दो इसको. मैग्नीट्यूड होना जरूरी है. देन आई सब्स्टिट्यूट. आई रिप्लेस दिस R21 by R21 vector divided by its magnitude. So F21 is equals to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R21. यहाँ पे as it is रख दूँ मैं. R21 cap, R21 vector divided by R21. ये दोनों सेम है. ये कुछ भी नहीं तो पावर क्या रहता है? 1 रहता है. सो स्क्वायर इंटू 1 क्या हो गए? R क्यूब. बेसिस आर सेम, पावर्स आर एडेड. सो आई कैन राइट 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R21 cube R21 vector. Then R21 यहाँ पे आपके पास है. What is that R21? R21 is nothing but R1 minus R2. ले सकते हैं. Shall I take R1 minus R2? यहाँ पे ले सकता हूँ मैं. मैग्नीट्यूड है 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. So R21 R1 minus R2 वेक्टर रख के इसको Q1 Q2 डिवाइडेड बाय ये है मॉड ऑफ R1 minus R2. Then this is nothing but क्यूब. इसको मैं R1 minus R2 लिख सकता हूँ मैं. इसको थोड़ा जगह यूज कर लेता हूँ मैं यहाँ पे. R1 वेक्टर माइनस R2 वेक्टर. दिस इज माय फाइनल इक्वेशन. कोई दिक्कत नहीं, एक बार ग्लांस कर लो. देन आई गो फॉर वंस अगेन. राइट. देख लो एक बार. इक्वेशन समझ में आ गया? गलती निकाल सकते, कुछ गड़बड़ करे सो है कहीं पे, एवरीथिंग विल बी सेम। स्टार्टिंग ही गड़बड़ करे, थोड़ा इक्वेशन देख लो, हो जाती है लिखते वक्त। आई नीड R21, क्या लिखे हम लोग, R1 माइनस R2, क्या होना चाहिए एक्चुअली R2 माइनस R1। गलती होती है उसको, जब उसके वास्ते जब ग्लांस करते हैं कहाँ पे गलती करे सो आपको मालूम हो जाता। इज इट क्लियर? देन मैं क्या कर यहाँ पे क्या लिख सकता हूँ मैं, शाला राइट, यहाँ पे चेंज कर दो, वेरी गुड। इसका मतलब है आप चौकन है बोल के मालूम हो जाता, कहीं पे भी गलती करें। सर गलती करे थे, आपको बोलना था, आप ऑनलाइन क्लास ले रहे थे, आप कैसा बोल सकते हैं, सो हो जाते। हम लिखते वक्त यहाँ पे पूरा इक्वेशन सही लिखे, लिखते वक्त क्या करें, इसको यहाँ रख के इसको शिफ्ट करना, माइनस हो जाता। हम क्या करें, गलती से R1 माइनस R2 करें, यहाँ पे गलती सुधार ली, यस हो जाते। इज इट क्लियर? यस। जब आप इक्वेशन कर लिए देन आप इसको, अगर मैं और एक फोर्स लिखना चाहे यहाँ पे, द फोर्स एक्टिंग ऑन फर्स्ट चार्ज इन द प्रेजेंस ऑफ सेकंड चार्ज, व्हाट इज दैट, F12। यहाँ पे यूज कर सकता हूँ मैं, ये जगह यूज करें तो आपको मालूम हो जाता है। ये मालूम हो गया आप लोगों को, F12। आल्सो हम ए भी लिख सकते, फोर्स एक्टिंग ऑन फर्स्ट चार्ज in the presence of second charge, 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, product of the charges q1 q2 divided by distance। आप यहाँ क्या लेते, q1 q2, सो आपके इधर पोजिशन वेक्टर क्या था, इधर R21 था ना, सो यहाँ पे पोजिशन यूनिट वेक्टर क्या लिखते हैं आप लोग, R12, राइट। आप जो है लास्ट इक्वेशन देखो, F21 R2 माइनस R1, यहाँ पे F12 डायरेक्टली लिख सकता हूँ मैं, R1 माइनस R2 इन द वेक्टर फॉर्म। नीचे है सेम मैग्नीट्यूड, ये जो है सेम टर्म R1 माइनस R2 वेक्टर, यहाँ पे क्यूब है, क्यूब, बस जो ऑलरेडी इक्वेशन लिखी है उसका आप यूज कर सकते हैं। नो दिस इज अवर इक्वेशन, राइट। एक समझ में आ गया, इसका पूरा यहाँ पे क्या है, 2 1 है, 2 1 2 1 1 2 है, यहाँ पे 1 2 1 2 मैग्नीट्यूड है, उसके वास्ते मॉडुलस साइन डाले सो है क्यूब एज इट इज वेक्टर, राइट। समझ में आ गया? नाउ दिस इज अबाउट इन टर्म्स ऑफ व्हाट, पोजीशन वेक्टर। इसके बाद आप लोगों को फोर्स ड्यू टू मल्टीपल चार्जेस, अगर वो हो गया, फोर्स कंसेप्ट कंप्लीट हो जाता, देन वी आर एंटरिंग इन व्हाट, इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड। इज इट क्लियर आप लोगों को? जस्ट आप कुछ भी डाउट्स है, आप कुछ भी क्वेरीज है एक्स्ट्रा आप पूछ सकते हैं, कमेंट बॉक्स में आप डाल सकते हैं, हम रेक्टिफाई करेंगे। इज इट क्लियर? इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास वी गो फॉर व्हाट, फोर्स ड्यू टू मल्टीपल चार्जेस, दैट वी एंटर इन द न्यू थिंग, that is nothing but electric field. Okay, thank you.